Conference races are in full swing across the board. We'll take a look at soccer, baseball, and softball, plus a milestone win in area high school coaching. All that and more on this week's installment of Varsity 360, and it starts right now. Hi there everyone, Mark Coleman here from the Virginia Varsity Sports Network. This is our May 12th, 2014 installment of Varsity 360, where we look at the week's top stories in Fredericksburg area high school sports. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm one of the luckiest guys I know. Each week I get a chance to chat sports with members of the Freelance Star Sports Department. This week is no exception. I have one of my very favorite sports reporters. It is Taft Coghill Jr. Taft, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mark.
Busy time around the FLS sports desk, I'm sure. I think, let's see, we've got NHL playoff hockey going on, NBA basketball playoffs going on, and oh yeah, the NFL held their draft this past week. It's sort of interesting to see that the NFL draft was the big story, even though the other two sports have their playoffs going on, but such as it is, NFL draft. There were some fellas from the area that played high school ball in the area that were hoping to get a call, and one of them was actually drafted.
Yeah, Dexter McDougal, Stafford High School graduate, University of Maryland alum. He received a call a lot earlier than many of the prognosticators had predicted. Many thought he would go in the 6th round or so, and he went in the 3rd round, 80th overall to the New York Jets, plays cornerback.
Yeah. So is this going to be a future Darrelle Revis type? Is he going to be? Is it going to be McDougal Island there? Do you think? Or I'm sure he's just hoping to be able to make the team at this point.
Yeah. First step, of course, is making the team, and then I mean every step of the way. I mean from high school to college, and now he's going to the pros. He's hoping it'll be the same way, but he's made an impression immediately. Each of his previous 2 steps. So.
And I know this is a high school show, but the Jets really have made some interesting moves during this offseason. It'll be interesting to me at least to see how these changes relate on the field. A lot of new faces on that gang green. So
yeah, a lot of new faces, and with the local guy, he doesn't want to go there and be part of the circus that the Jets can be sometimes. So hopefully he can stay out of that and just focus on playing football.
Now, another guy from the area is going to be going to New York as well as an undrafted free agent, getting the call right after the draft ended. Yeah,
Curry Wynn from Louisa High School. He was a guy, when he was in high school, played a number of positions, played some tight end, some linebacker, and just did pretty much everything on the field defensively and offensively for Louisa. Went to the University of Richmond, played some D-tackle, and now the Giants have signed him, expecting him to come in and compete for a roster spot at defensive end.
Yeah. How exciting must that be? I can't even imagine, but yeah, that's some wonderful stories. So congratulations to a couple of guys, young men now, that played their high school ball in the area, Kerry Wynn and Dexter McDougal. Dexter got the draft call, and Kerry, an undrafted free agent who's now signed with the Giants. So congratulations to them. But this is a high school sports show, so why don't we turn our attention now to some high school sports. And let's start with softball. How about we start with softball this week? Girls softball, some good competition going on in Conference 15. Massaponax with an early lead, but they've got a tough schedule coming up.
Yeah, Potomac and Brook Point. I mean, 2 teams that are pretty feisty teams. I saw Brook Point play last week against North Stafford. They suffered a 1-run loss. They had the tying runner coming to the plate. They're only in the top of the 7th inning, but she suffered an injury right at the plate, and yeah, ran into the catcher, suffered an injury, and they tagged her out, and that was the game. But those are the breaks. But they bounced back quite nicely on Friday against River Bend. So that says a lot about a team's toughness when you come back from a loss that devastating and then come back and pound out 15 runs against River Bend.
A pretty good River Bend team as well. Yeah. Had some ups and downs, but yeah, 15-5 victory for Brook Point coming back on Friday for that big win over the Bears. Let me read this stat line for you. Of course, with 15 runs, you expect that there's going to be some pretty good stats. Rachel Payne, who plays shortstop, I'm pretty sure she's a senior for Brook Point. 5 hits, including a home run and a triple. Not a bad night's work, I'd say. What do you think?
Not bad at all. And she's been pretty consistent. I've seen them twice this year, and she's made an impression both times. And now she has a major breakthrough game there against Riverbend.
Yeah. Well, in fact, by way of that 5-hit home run triple performance against Riverbend, Rachel Payne is the Varsity 360 Athlete of the Week, sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings. So congratulations to Rachel Payne from Brook Point High School, our Varsity 360 Athlete of the Week, and we thank Buffalo Wild Wings for their sponsorship and endorsement of that. So congratulations to Rachel. Well, we are joined now in studio by a very special guest. He just won his 400th high school game, actually his 401st this past week as well. Pretty special week for this young man. He is the head coach for the Chancellor High School boys soccer team. It is Coach Mike Webb. Coach, welcome to the show.
First, I don't know if you can call me young man, but thank you.
I just did, so obviously I can.
Thank you for having us.
Well, welcome. We've got a couple of other fine young men that you brought along with us. Why don't you introduce these guys?
This is Nolan Bonner, our center back, and this is Michael Young, our holding central midfielder.
Well, welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. Coach, 400 victories. You had a 4-0 victory over James Monroe to secure that 400th win. Lots of special folks in attendance. Some of them were surprises to you until you showed up there. Tell me about the emotions that you experienced that night.
Yeah, it was a pretty emotional game. I had no idea that so many former players and my family were going to be there. Some people, made some extensive arrangements, and it was pretty exciting. I had, I think, 7 players from my first state championship team in 1990 were there, so it was really special.
Are they still young men?
Middle-aged men.
Nolan, how did it feel? What kind of pressure was on the team knowing that you had so many folks in attendance wanting to see Coach Webb get that 400th win? You guys still had to go out and perform against a pretty good JM team. What kind of pressure was on you guys?
Well, there's definitely a lot of pressure to win. We didn't want to let down the crowd, but having all those state champions in the crowd, we use that as motivation, because we want to live up to that standard that they set 20 years ago, and we didn't want to disappoint anyone. We especially didn't want to disappoint Coach Webb. We wanted to help him have his special night and win the 400th game.
Well, and obviously you did it, so congratulations on that. Michael, how did it feel once you knew that you had the game secured, and then afterwards with the cake and the T-shirts, and I'm sure lots of congratulations and joy on the Chancellor side? What kind of relief did you feel? What did it mean to you to be on the field for that win?
Well, it was relieving to have the pressure taken off our back to get that 400th and not have to worry about that. And it was really gratifying to give Coach Webb his 400th win, and to see the look on his face when he saw all his alumni there, to see him get that win. So it was a pretty special night.
And Michael, did you all know coming into the season that this was something that was on the horizon?
We knew, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just what was that like, just to build up to it?
It was really neat to be able to get it on the 9th win, being 9-0, because we knew there was 9 left, and so we decided at the beginning of the season we were going to try to get it as soon as possible.
So this team really has made a nice turnaround. Chancellor historically has had some strong boys soccer teams. Recently, that hasn't been quite the case, at least not up to standards that you set, with the previous years, and these fellas have to try to live up to. This team really has turned it around, though. You guys are now 10-0. You've already secured the regular season conference championship, which doesn't mean a whole lot. We all agree with that,
right.
But it means that you guys are playing well. How do you feel about this team, Coach, this season?
Well, quite frankly, I'm really surprised. I mean, I thought we had a chance to be, pretty competitive, pretty good, but to be 9-0, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised now that we are 9-0. I was surprised going 4-5, and then I said, you know what, we can be pretty good, and it just kept going, and we got more confident, and we actually started playing even better.
Nolan, you've been around a while. What's been the difference this year as opposed to the previous 2 or 3 years?
This year, I think this year we work a lot harder than we have in the past couple of years, and you can tell it even in practice. We practice like we're playing in an important game. We practice like we're playing to win things, and when we practice like we're playing to win, we end up winning. And I think our hard work has got to be the #1 reason we're 9-0, 10-0.
10-0 now.
I agree, because I don't think necessarily we've had more talent this year. I think we've definitely had some really talented players in the past, but just the players now, they're just working a lot harder than people have in the past. So I think that's what's been the big difference.
So you went to 10-0 on Friday, a 2-1 victory over Cortland. Was there any danger of letdown after all of the emotion that happened on Tuesday? You then had to play a conference rival and a county foe in Cortland. Was it tough to get up for that game?
No, it was not tough to get up for Cortland. We were ready for that game.
Okay.
The Tuesday night was real special, especially to get the 400th win, but beating Cortland to win the conference was almost as special, at least for the players.
Did it help to have the game right after that be also such a meaningful game, being that it was for, to win the conference and also against the rival? You didn't have to worry about any type of letdown or anything?
Well, in one respect, I think it was good that it was against Cortland, because Cortland, we always inspire each other to have our best game. But I was worried about the emotion of the week. We had a really hard game on Monday night that we won in the last 10 minutes. To come back with the 400 game, and then to play our arch rival in a game that, for us, could clinch the regular season conference, the #1 seed, and for them could put them back mathematically into it. So it was a very good game. We got outplayed, during some portions of the game, but to our credit, we figured out how to win. Cortland's a very good team.
Chancellor's a very good team as well. Now, you guys have a challenging week coming up. You've got 4 games scheduled in the coming week, correct?
Well, we have 2 this week, but next week we have an NBA schedule. We have 4 games in 4 days.
Oh, okay. So a week from now. Okay.
Yes.
What is it, an NBA schedule? Yeah. What is it like to prepare for that? How difficult is it once you get into that 3rd and the 4th game of that stretch? Are your legs gone from you? Is there anything special or different that you need to do to prepare for that?
We do a lot of things differently. We'll, we do some things with our bodies. We drink recovery shakes. We're in a rhythm, where you play twice a week, so it really throws your rhythm off. So we've got to do things to make sure we're okay physically. Give some players some more rest in some games, things like that.
Yeah, 2 of those games, I guess, are non-conference games against Carolina. Do you plan to maybe rest some of your guys a little more in those games?
Well, yes, but we want to win as well. I mean, we're not going to sacrifice rest over a victory, particularly now that we've, clinched the regular season #1 seed for the conference. But we'll probably play some more kids. We may play a few JV kids on the varsity in a couple games, so we can give our varsity players some more rest.
And give some of those JV kids some experience. You never know when you might need them, right?
Yeah, we have a very good JV team as well, and they'll be fine as well.
So I mentioned earlier that the regular season conference championship doesn't mean much, and I don't mean to belittle that. I know that it does mean something, and it's a big accomplishment for a school that has a lot of familiarity with doing that, but it's still been several years, 2009, I believe, since you've actually won the regular season. But it's all about the postseason, right? You guys still have your sights focused a little bit higher. Is that safe to say?
Wow.
Tell me about what you guys want to do. The seniors here, what are you still hoping that you can accomplish?
Well, I think the best way to go out is with a win, and the only way you can do that is win it all.
There you go.
I mean, it's a big goal, but if we work at it, we haven't lost yet. I think as long as we stay focused and keep working hard, anything's possible this season.
I agree.
Hard to disagree with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Guys, what does it mean to you playing soccer for Coach Webb? What does the game mean to you? I mean, you're still young kids. You still got a lot in front of you, I'm sure, but you have had the opportunity to learn from a pretty special guy here.
Yeah, I've had a lot of good coaches over over my career, but I think I've learned the most from Coach Webb. Coming into Chancellor, I was probably an okay player, and a couple seasons under Coach Webb, and I think my game has improved tremendously, and I think you could easily chalk it up to Coach Webb and Chancellor practices.
Yeah.
I don't think he just teaches you soccer either. He teaches you life lessons. Like, he teaches you to be disciplined. Like, you don't take shortcuts at practice. That's not what Chancellor does, and that's what he's preached since our freshman year. And so we've all been as disciplined as we can be, and it's translated into school and just other things in life.
And Coach, with some of your other endeavors with Foster and University of Mary Washington, do you ever does it ever become a balancing act to keep as much passion with your high school program as you've had in years past?
No, not really, because at Mary Wash, I'm the assistant, and it's Coach Kilby's program, and I just do anything I can do to help him. But Chancellor's my program, and I get to make the decisions, and I get to do all that. So it keeps me focused. It keeps me passionate.
How does it feel to know that you're turning out fine young men? I mean, these two fellows are going to have already been named to the VHSCA All-Star game to be played this summer. They're both going to graduate. Nolan, you're going to Christopher Newport. Michael, you're going to be going to Virginia Tech. They've still got so much of their future ahead of them, but you've helped to shape that. Well,
I hope so. I mean, to start with, they're both great kids, and Chancellor's just full of great kids. Makes my job really easy. This year it's been really easy to coach Chancellor soccer. I think you guys would say probably less yelling and coaching this year in your 4 years, and that's the credit to the team. How focused our training sessions are. Really good. They're really focused. So I think that's a compliment to you guys and your leadership and the team.
Well, certainly want to congratulate you on your 400th and your 401st victory as a high school coach. Certainly hope that by the end of the season you've got a whole lot more victories that you can pile up. Fellas, I hope that you can achieve that goal of playing your last game with a win. That would certainly be quite an accomplishment. But I have a feeling if there's anyone from the area that might be able to do it, it may be you guys. You certainly have a guy who knows how to do that. And then you can redesign these T-shirts. You can add another star to the T-shirt.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
Add another star.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be absolutely awesome. Well, Coach Webb, certainly appreciate your time. Again, congratulations, and great having you here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
That's Coach Webb and the boys Chancellor soccer team. Certainly appreciate Coach Webb visiting and bringing along a couple of his senior leaders from that Chancellor Charger boys soccer team. Congratulations to them on already securing the Conference 22 regular season championship. Quite a feat for that team, and I know that they're very proud and have a lot of plans and hopes ahead for this season. Certainly haven't finished there. Moving to Conference 15, but staying in the boys soccer, I know that an area team had a big game this past week that resulted in a victory and also a clinching of their conference. You were at this game.
Yeah, Massaponax was able to overcome a 2-0 deficit and beat Mountain View 3-2 on a Massaponax home field. That was a very big win for a program who hadn't won a conference/district title since around 2003, I believe.
This team sort of has snuck up on some folks, I think. I mean, it's been a pretty good team for a while. They got off to a hot start, won some big games against some Conference 6 teams, and they've not let up. This team is for real.
Oh yeah, they're definitely for real. I talked to Coach Mark Smith a little bit after that game, and he said that leading into this year, I mean, they had a couple of so-so years, but they were steadily building up toward a season like this, and it might surprise some outsiders, but those within that program, they've kind of seen this coming.
And they've got a big, it's not that big of a game, but a game to finish up their conference regular season against Brook Point on Friday. I'm sure that they want to finish the regular season undefeated. It'll be interesting to see the results of that one.
Yeah, they definitely do. Just talking to the players and to Coach Smith after the big win over Mountain View, they definitely don't want to let up. They want to make their mark on Conference 15 in his first year by going undefeated.
Yeah. Well, mission accomplished, I believe. Check on that one, and they'll be moving on hopefully to a successful postseason as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the area news for boys soccer. Well, let's take a look at baseball. And Taft, we had an interesting situation this past Saturday. Tell me if you've ever heard something like this before. Colonial Forge played a doubleheader, not too surprising there. They played two different teams. That's a little bit unusual. Two different locations. I don't think that I hear that very often. I suspect that it was a situation where they're making up some weather games here. They opened their Saturday on the road at Garfield, won that one 11-0, got onto the bus, traveled down to Stonewall Jackson, and then, oh, by the way, they laid 19 on Stonewall Jackson, 19-2. They ended up scoring 30 runs on the Saturday, two different ballparks.
Wow.
Have you heard anything like this before? That's a pretty unusual story, I think.
Very unusual. I haven't seen that in my 12 years around here, so
yeah.
Pretty unique story.
The offense was certainly not lacking for Forge. A couple of home runs in that opening game.
Yeah, Cole Migliarini delivered a home run, as did John Gardner, and they were able to dispatch Garfield 11-0 in that game.
Yeah, the runs were certainly fast and furious in those two games there for Colonial Forge. Hilton still has the lead there in Conference 4, but they've got Forge and Riverbend still ahead of them, so still some games to be played and some outcomes to be decided in Conference 4. Conference 15's got some interesting things going on this week, actually.
Yeah, that's really heating up, and on Wednesday, I guess it'll pretty much decide the race when you have Potomac and North Stafford square off there. That'll pretty much decide that #1 seed in the Conference 15 tournament.
Yeah. Both are 3-0 right now. A similar type situation in Conference 22, King George, Eastern View. They play each other on Wednesday as well.
Yeah, that should be a barn burner down in Culpeper, King George and Eastern View. King George is sitting at 6-1 in Conference 22 right now. Eastern View at 6-2, and this game will go a long way in deciding who'll get that #1 seed.
Yeah. Well, it's always fun when the regular season draws to a close. We've got the playoffs, conference championship tournaments just around the corner. Lots of exciting games to be played on all kinds of different fields. I hope you're able to go out and catch some games. The weather's starting to be good. Maybe some rain later this week, but certainly it's springtime, and we've had some beautiful weather around the area. So I hope you're able to go out and catch some of the wonderful sports and action that's going on in Fredericksburg area high school sports. We'll be back next week to chat about this week's games and scores and to preview the week coming. We do that every week right here on Varsity 360. I appreciate Taft Coghill for joining this week. It's always a pleasure chatting with you, Taft. Thanks for joining in.
Thanks for having me again, Mark.
Taft, of course, part of that wonderful FLS Varsity crew. You can catch them online, flsvarsity.com. They're on Twitter, @FLSVarsity. I get to chat with them in real life each week. Hopefully you get to tune in and watch them chat and talk right here on Varsity 360. That's going to do it for this week's installment for the Virginia Varsity Sports Network. I'm Mark Coleman. Thanks for watching, everyone.